Everybody is freaking out about interest rates. Let me share with you my personal story. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Rosemary Lewis, your educator agent with eXp Realty. And today, my friends, I'm going to get raw and vulnerable with you and share with you a personal story about interest rate hikes because I think that somebody out there needs to hear it. But before I get into it, y'all, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That way, every time I post a video, you will know all about it, okay? And listen, this is what I really want you to do. I want you to hit that share button. And I want you to send this to someone who is qualified and can buy a house, but they're watching the news and they are so scared to pull the trigger because I just want to share with them my experience, and you just never know who you're gonna help. So let's talk about our topic today. Real estate, right? Y'all, I feel like since the pandemic, one of the topics has been, it's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market, low rates, high rates. And right now with inflation and everything going on, it just feels heavy. And I have the unique opportunity to play a special role in the lives of people who are looking to purchase a home. And I understand that there is a lot of just right now. And I want to share with you my own personal story, especially as it relates to higher interest rates, just to give you some insight that you just might not have thought about. So my husband and I, the home that I'm sitting in right now, we built this home in 2018. We actually started the process in 2017, which was also the year that I ended my career as an elementary school teacher and went to become a real estate agent. And it was great, except we did not realize that we would be purchasing a home when I made that decision. And if you know anything about traditional lending, one of the very first things that they're gonna look for to qualify you is 2 years worth of income in your stated field, right? We needed to have some checks and balances. And I had just quit my job. So I quit my job. There was a break in the income, in the way that I was getting paid. And long story short, my husband and I could not qualify for a traditional loan. Never mind that we were self-employed. It just was difficult. So we got to the point where we found this home, like we weren't even looking, but we went and saw the model, absolutely fell in love with it. And my husband was like, you know what, we are doing this. We're going to figure out how to make this happen for our family. Now, admittedly, I was scared. We had to do it scared, but he was gung-ho about making this happen. So what he ended up doing was we found a lender at the time that would work with with self-employed people, and they had different qualifications in order to get this loan. And it is termed a bank statement loan. So we did not have to turn over our tax returns because our tax returns didn't support the income that we were currently receiving. So we were able to do it a different way. But one of the stipulations with the bank statement loan was that because it was riskier for the investor, and the investor being the lender who actually funded our house, it came at a much higher interest rate. In 2018, the average rates were between, I would say, 3 to 5%, 3.5 to 5%, y'all. And in order to get this home, we had to sign for a rate that was over 7%. I will tell you that that kind of took my breath away. The mortgage was more, even though we can afford it, you know, it was just hard knowing, like a lot of y'all are looking at rates right now, like, ooh, if I would have bought 3 months ago or 5 months ago or a year ago, the rate would have been much lower. It was hard, even though we could afford it, it was hard swallowing that pill. But my husband talked to me and he was like, look, here's the deal. It's not like we're not paying to live, right? That's number one. Up to that point, we had been renting a home for 4 years. In that 4-year time period, once we added up all the cost of the rents, we had spent more than 6 figures in rent. We were gaining equity for somebody else's investment. And he pretty much told me like, hey, 7% interest is better than what we're doing right now. And what we're doing right now is we are paying 100% interest to someone else's business or to someone else's home. So we went ahead and we purchased the home. Well, y'all, we did what we needed to do over the next few years as I was gaining income as a real estate agent. We were able to then refinance traditionally, go into a more traditional mortgage. And let me just back up. The 7%, it was it was a 30-year fix, but it was fixed at 7%. So we were able to get traditional financing in the sense that we were qualified now off of our tax statements and not just off of our bank statements as before. And we were able to refinance at a much lower rate, which we are so grateful for. But that was after 2 years of paying at 7%. But here is the kicker, y'all. In the same amount of time right now that we rented that house for 4 years and spent over 6 figures in rent, paying down somebody else's principal, we have been living in this house for 4 years and it is worth double what we paid for it 4 years ago. Now, why am I telling you that? Because if we would not have purchased, because the circumstances of which we needed to purchase, the interest rate was higher, we would have missed out on so much equity, right? Not only will we have missed out on equity, by the time we were able to qualify for a traditional mortgage, the home prices would have been much higher, and the home that we're able to afford at the time, it may not have been a viable option. And now that we have this wonderful property that we love, like we've made a home out of it, had wonderful memories, it's also proven to be a very, very wise investment, even though the initial way that we got into the investment was not exactly what we wanted. Why am I telling you this? Because I know that there's somebody out here just like me. You're like, oh man, you're playing the shoulda, coulda, woulda game, and you're wondering, should you stand on the sidelines? Now, I don't have a crystal ball and I cannot tell you what to do, but what I will tell you is that in my case, I am grateful for that 7% interest rate because that 7% interest rate got me into home ownership, and that home ownership has meant the world to our family, both personally and financially. So don't let this market punk you. Get with a real estate agent, who can connect you with the lender, figure out what your best options are, and y'all go ahead and secure an investment for you and your family. Now, of course, if you are in the North Dallas area, I am your homegirl and I primarily specialize in the far North Dallas suburbs. I would love to just sit with you, to talk with you, and just really give you some insight on how I can support you. And if that's not you, if you're happy where you are, well, kudos to you. Go ahead and forward this video to somebody else who just might need an educator agent, someone who's going to give them just feedback and insight and help guide them in the right direction. And if you made it to the end of this video and you're not subscribed to my channel, like for real, what are you doing with your life? Go ahead, look how I go ahead and subscribe. When we start clapping and talking, we serious, y'all. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel because I want to make sure that when I share, you are here to hear about it. And like I said before, I love doing this. I love sharing on this platform, but I want to make sure that I'm sharing things that you actually care about. So if you are a future home buyer or a future home seller in this market, what are some topics that you're kind of unclear about? Put them in the chat, put them in comments, and I'll make sure to shoot content to answer your questions. Bye, y'all.